I don't know if you want to talk about Carson like this, but I know something that I asked Danielle was what things did Gavin like in his activities? Because Gavin was always letting Danielle know what the activity of the day was going to be. Like they were going to shop or they were going to go
Shop.
get pizza. Yeah. So did Carson kind of guide you that way, like with the activities for what the day would look like?
So I was working then. I was working at home. And so we would work. And then she just kind of liked to chill. We would watch TV. She really liked, okay, so sometimes like she wanted chocolate, so I would give her chocolate. And then like she liked when I rubbed, hold on, right here. Her little butt was right here. And when I would rub it, she would like move all around. It was sweet. And it was ever I like just rubbed that one part of her butt, she would like move around. She liked to hang out. And we would trying to remember everything we would do. It was like towards the end of is in winter, so we weren't doing much of anything. But we like to be outside. Especially I liked the cold a lot more when I was pregnant with her. Like I don't know what it was, but I think she liked being cold or being outside. Um we did a we didn't she didn't like dictate a lot, but I knew she liked to kind of like she's always doing gymnastics and tumbling in there. She liked to have her little butt patted and rubbed. Um she was a happy baby, I think. She was always happy in her ultrasound pictures. There's one where she was smiling like this. Um, and it's great because Kinsley's happy. She's just a really happy baby. Like she'll even say, she's a happy baby, because she's a happy kid. And she's a tumbler too in life. Kinsley tumbles all over the place, climbs all over the place. So I think both my girls were little gymnasts. So it's interesting to see how, even though I never got to know Carson in life that way, I feel like I know because Kinsley is here, and it just makes sense to me in a way that I can't really verbalize. Um, that these little pieces of Carson are with her too. Like they were the same. And I do like I noticed that Kinsley's eyes are just like Carson's from the couple times Carson was able to open her eyes. And I love that. I love being able to see like a little piece of her, just come through of what she might have been like. Because I think that's something a lot of lost moms and dads, lost parents in general, wonders, what would they look like today? These are my children, but I don't know what they look like. I'm sure Danielle, you feel the same way, and you look forward to seeing what this little baby brings in of Gavin.
I do wonder, since you're bringing this up, because this was stuff like I thought about it because I had such a different relationship with Gavin versus my other boys and stuff. It's very different. Did you ever, or could you kind of pick up on like personality or what you thought, like even like when they got older, somehow you kind of could picture like what they would end up doing, or like, what made them happy in their life? Did you have anything like that? I know it sounds weird, but I swear I could tell you stuff about my kid that I was like, I knew you before you were born. Like I knew
Yeah.
exactly what he was going to look like before he was ever born. And when he came out and I seen him, he was exactly what I had always thought. So it was like this, it's like a weird thing. So I wondered if you kind of had anything like that.
I did. So with Kinsley, she made me so sick. I was like, this is going to be like my Sour Patch Kid, super sweet until she's super not. And that's spot on. Spot on. She is my Gemini happy baby until she is not. And, and it just, first she's sour, then she's sweet. But Carson, she just seemed so content. Like she was just going to be such an easygoing baby. I know she was stubborn. So it wasn't like, not like Kinsley stubborn, but just fierce, almost like she's determined to do it her way. Um, she was always like, we could get the picture, she was smiling, but other times she was hands over. She was always doing things in her way. And I like that about her because once I found out I was having girls, I was like, awesome. I'm raising strong women. Got you. That's what I'm going to do. And she was just I loved it. She was fierce, but she was also, I think, very like gentle. She was just, I don't know why. I just get the feeling like she was a very gentle kind of soul and very sweet, but fierce. It's kind of like that, the juxtaposition of both. And I loved it. And I think that, even when she was alive, like she just had
It's like
this,
that song.
yes, She just had like this feeling like anyone who met her fell in love, and she had this just disposition even when she wasn't doing anything. And she was just, I don't know, special.
I love that. I love it that you guys are able to share like just what you know about your children. Like, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
love it so much.
I like being able to talk about it. Other people are like, what are you talking about? But like in this space, we understand, we carried them for 9 months. Like, of course we know about them, but you don't think about it, right? Like in your conscious day-to-day life, you're like, well, it was just a baby. It moves sometimes, but it wasn't. Like, it was so much more than that. Like the relationship that comes with each baby. It wasn't just Carson, the Kinsley too. And it's cool. And I feel her. I'm sure you feel Gavin too. Like, it's just, there's a feeling attached to their memory. And sometimes you feel that with you almost.
What Carson's favorite food was?
Carson's favorite food was she liked Good and Plenty's. Like black licorice candy was I legit would buy a big bag from this Amish market we have around the corner and keep it and eat it a lot. Mexican food, and I'm not like a spicy Mexican food person, but I couldn't get enough of it. And now I like it a lot. I eat it all the time. We didn't do hot coffee. I can only drink iced coffee with both my pregnancies. If I could drink coffee at all, no hot coffee, only iced. Would just make me sick. But all things sweets with Carson and Mexican, sweet and spicy, just like her.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Yes, that was the best.
Now, when you have that, is that still like a good reminder? Do you still like your Good and Plenty's, or are you kind of over?
I still like them, but I don't eat them as much anymore because I like them as every now and then as a candy, but like definitely not to where I was eating them every night, like with Carson. Like there's a reason why I gained the weight, and Good and Plenty's had a large portion of it, I think, because I would just eat them so much. They were so good.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I love that. So that was her. That was all her.
That was her. That was all her. And I mean, I like black licorice before. I like it still, but like I haven't eaten in the past probably 2 months, but I was eating it. Like I got it as a gift for my baby shower. Like people knew that I was eating it so much. Like my aunt got me a thing of pickles and Good and Plenty's. And it was a great gift because I liked both.
Sounds very useful. I don't know if we did in our group, if we did sandwich suggestions for you in anticipation. Oh, did we? Okay.
We did. So it wasn't for me, but I just remember reading everybody's. I'm trying to recall. I know I had hot coffee, and that was amazing because I'm a coffee person. Okay. It's not Starbucks, it's Wawa. It's Wawa, not Starbucks, which is a chain on the East Coast.
Okay, I have to know these things. I'm not a Starbucks person either, even though I'm from Seattle. So full disclosure.
So I had a hot coffee, and it was the first time that I was able to drink one in that pregnancy. Like after I had Kinsley, it was so good. It was just so good. And then I had sushi. Yes. And it was so good. Sushi and Korean barbecue. There's a Korean barbecue place not far. And it was just, I ate so much and I didn't throw up. So it was great because I had a PICC line with Kinsley. I couldn't eat. We did TPN, hyperemesis. Danielle can tell. It's just not 10 out of 10, not a good time. 10 out of 10. Would not recommend.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like the second kid's worse. That's what my first, I was sick, but I was fine. Like with Gavin, I was like, yeah, I threw up. Like, it was like, in my mind, I was like, yeah, I mean, I got sick. But then when I had my second and it's a rainbow baby on top of it, I'm pretty sure I almost died at the beginning. It got pretty bad when my friends who were medical people called my mom and was like, you have to take Danielle to the hospital. So I know it had gotten to that point where it was really bad. And I don't know why it is with the second one that was like gnarly. Right? Like it was like a whole nother, I was like, I wasn't this bad, but I was bad.
No.
Like, I don't know why.
You get to the 15, like, so you base it off of your previous baby. So at like 15 weeks, I'm like, this is going to end. No, Megan, it didn't.
No, it doesn't end. And see, I I did a treatment for him and it went away. So I didn't have it the rest of my pregnancy. But this time I was like, it's not bad. I was like medicated really fast. I was so franning it up really fast, stuff like that. So I was like, oh, it's not too bad. But then it lasted way beyond the 15, like, way went into the second. Even in my third, I started getting sick. I'm like, I should have done that treatment. I thought I was good, but maybe I should have just that freaking treatment because it works with him. But I was like, this time I was like, I got this. No, I didn't.
No,
like it does. It comes when it wants to, like,
It does. Like, I think if we ever have another one, I'm going to walk into my OB and be like, pick line now. Just do it now. Let me get the fluid now so I don't get dehydrated. And maybe by 20 weeks, I can take it out instead of just getting it at 20 weeks, and then being on it. I had this stupid thing until 37 weeks.
Oh,
Like, I was so done. So done. So done. But I mean, it wasn't the worst, I say these and it is awful, but like there's women out there whose OBs don't fight for them like mine fought for me. And they have to just go to the hospital every single time. And especially during COVID times, that was terrifying because you're pregnant walking in during COVID. And then you don't even have the energy to drive. It really shouldn't be driving. And I was lucky to have the home health, and that she fought for me to get it. But the things we do for love, right?
It is true that not every OB is like specializes in HG. I do know that for a fact that some of them are like, they kind of like, oh, it's morning sickness.
Right.
And there is some women that I've heard of that lose weight while being pregnant, look like a skeleton, you know what I mean? And I'm like, this is not healthy. And the doctor's not giving them the medicine to them, not getting the treatment that they need, kind of almost like in this like dismissal kind of thing. It's a very weird thing that there's not enough about this, because you can talk to medical people and some people know all about it. Maybe they've experienced it. Maybe they had some type of special training for it. They knew somebody that went through it. They've seen it. They witnessed it. They know about it. And then there's like probably a big percentage that have no idea what it even is. They're like, oh, okay. Like they know the term, the medical term, and they know what it is. But then they're kind of like, well, what do they do with that? Like literally, yeah. I've been asked like, well, what kind of treatment did you get? And I was like, you're a medical person. You should tell me what type of treatment that I should be getting. Like, why are you asking me this? So it's a very weird thing of like, you almost have to like, if you can love your OB, but if they don't know how to treat you, of how to deal with it, they need to send you to somebody else. And if a regular OB can't figure it out, you need to go to high risk. Like, I think immediately people should just go right to a high risk because they know exactly what to do with, and they deal with the PICC lines and they deal with all the heavy, like the more serious cases of stuff. And I've seen many people right here, like right in my community, that have had it, been dismissed by this doctor, finally getting like the second trimester, finally end up in with a high risk. The high risk is like, oh my God, why are you going all these weeks suffering when we can do stuff about it? And you don't have to go to the ER every weekend, or you know what I mean? Like all the time just to get IVs. Like it's a really, really weird thing and I almost feel like this is like a borderline taboo subject, because how do you tell the difference between morning sickness and HG? And I've noticed it a lot. And I've had people ask me this too. How do you tell the difference? And I'm like, well, there's one thing if you get sick and you can get up and you can eat and you can drink water. But if you're continuously getting sick and you're struggling to hold anything down, especially water, chances are you have this. This is what's going on. And even if you have just gone far enough that you've been dehydrated and you have to whatever, you have this, because now it's in there and you're going to be fighting this battle maybe the whole time that you're pregnant. It doesn't go away. That whole like first trimester, whatever, that is not true. And it's a genetic thing sometimes of what I've heard is like,
that's what I've heard too,
but my mom, really funny. My mom was like, well, I got sick. She was like how I was with Gavin. I threw up randomly here and there. It was fine. But with me, she didn't believe that I even had this. And so it took to it took this one where my mom was like, oh, this is a real thing, because she's like the old school, like, you know what I mean? She was like, no, everybody has morning sickness. That's just how it is. But it really took in when she had seen how bad it had gotten, where I ended up in the hospital and I was ended up with all this stuff, and it was scary. Then suddenly it was like, okay, maybe this isn't morning sickness. And my mom chopped it up too. Well, you're really little. That's why it's happening to you. You're really little. And I was like, it happens to people that are not always little. Like, mom, this happens to everybody. And, you know, but my mom is like that old school, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, no, like, you can just work through morning sickness. But then this time around, when I started getting really sick, my mom was like over that same day. The day that it started, my mom came over and was like, did you call the doctor? Are you getting meds? Like, she immediately, it was like she clicked into that. Like, she knew this time. But that's the thing, is we don't know it's a thing. Like, even our own moms might not even know it's a thing.
And no one talks about it. And, you know, I don't want to be hateful, but like, they brush women off. Doctors brush women off all the time. You know, it goes back to that god awful H word, hysteria. You know, you don't want the baby, so you're being sick. You're sick. That's why you don't want the baby. I really think that was when I was doing a little bit of research, that was one of the things they would actually tell people is, well, that's why you're throwing up so much, is you really just don't want this baby. And what a load of crap. Like, what a load of crap, right? And it's just, no one talks about it, because I think, well, thank God to Kate Middleton, right, for bringing one shining light onto it, and then Amy Schumer. But it's like, no one talks about it because everybody thinks it's just morning sickness. And it's just, if you are dry heaving in your car to the point where you have to pull over, friend, it is not morning sickness. Or if you are peeing yourself routinely while throwing up, it may not be morning sickness. You know, and it's just one of those things. You have to laugh, because what are you going to do otherwise? You know, it's just,